released their findings. They found cheating in 44 of the 56 Atlanta schools they examined. They identified 178 educators involved in cheating, saying the test scores were tied to bonuses. Just weeks before the investigators released their report, Superintendent Beverly Hall left at the end of her contract, claiming she knew nothing about any cheating. The Fulton County District Attorney's Office has spent more than 18 months investigating, leading up to today.
Likewise, Bill Gates Foundation spent $3 billion on their failed initiatives in the United States. Gates says the experience has been sobering. It's hard to improve public education. More funding isn't the answer. Efforts by Ford and Carnegie and Rockefeller Foundations, among others, increased investments, but the efforts made little difference in closing the achievement gap. When speaking to educators around the world, I often ask the question, what is the real problem with education? And I often answer tongue-in-cheek, nothing, if you're living in the 1940s. The system is doing exactly what it was designed to do and has produced a workforce for the industrial age. Edward Deming, a major contributor to the quality movement in Japan, taught that 90% of the system problems are caused by the system itself. The nature and the structure of the factory model is the primary cause for variation in education. This performance curve has been around for 100 years. Educators and policymakers accept that there are only a small percentage of students that are gifted, that the vast majority are average or below average. People have seldom stopped to think, what if the assembly line rote learning model of education is the primary cause of this variation and not the abilities of children? It is a fallacy of the familiar. This system of education has been around so long, it must be right. It must be the right way of educating children. What if Nigeria was able to bring its educational system up to global standards in the next 10 years, which would be absolutely amazing? Would this new improved system prepare Nigerian children to be future ready, to be globally competitive? The answer is yes and no. It depends on your vision for the future of your country. The World Economic Forum describes 3 stages for economic development. At the first stage are factor-driven economies like Nigeria. The second stage are efficiency-driven economies such as China. And the third stage are innovation-driven economies like the United States, Canada, Europe, and Singapore. The factor-driven economies focus their educational initiatives on improving basic skills like literacy and numeracy. The efficiency-driven economies focus their initiatives on relevant technical skills so as to bring greater efficiency to the manufacturing sector. Innovation economies focus their educational initiatives on future-ready skills such as the abilities to innovate and invent. If your education vision is to advance the country's economic status from a factor-driven to an efficiency-driven economy, what will that future look like in 10 to 15 years? You see, you will always be trying to play catch-up. The world is not standing still. Every country is looking to transform its education system. Go to Singapore and listen to the concerns they have about their education system. Today's knowledge is doubling every, let me just go back. During the 1940s, knowledge was doubling every 50 years. Factories needed workers that would conform, comply, and meet industrial age standards. And only a few would go to university to become the leaders of their companies. Today, knowledge is doubling every 18 months. The average shelf life of an engineering degree is 3 years. Factory workers need to be highly skilled technicians in advanced computer technologies. As we have moved from the industrial age to the information age and now to the creative age, knowledge is increasing at an exponential rate. The ability of the traditional assembly line approach to education no longer is able to adequately prepare students for the world of massive change. We have reached a tipping point of system obsolescence, where no amount of improvement can close the gap. Improvement strategies that may have worked in the 70s and 80s will no longer work in today's world. What is needed is incremental transformation. During the agricultural age, education was available for the few, with a focus on basic skills. The industrial age introduced the factory model of education, which provided schooling for the masses. But to succeed, you needed to conform and comply to the system. Academic excellence was achieved only by the few that were fortunate enough to have a linguistic, left temporal lobe dominant learning style. We entered the information age where technologies, mainly computers, brought greater efficiency to the factory model. We are now living in the creative age, where academic excellence needs to be achieved by the majority, and where students are prepared with future-ready skills such as innovation and creativity. The traditional rote learning model of education is increasingly becoming obsolete, whether it be at the primary, secondary, or tertiary levels. Also, neuroscience is now showing us the fallacy of the learning theory that lies at the core of traditional education. Transformation is defined as a major change in form and function. Metamorphosis, where a caterpillar transforms into a butterfly, is a good example of transformation. The miracle of metamorphosis is found in special imaginal cells that have the vision and ability to create the butterfly. The imaginal transformation process incrementally pulls elements of that future system, the butterfly, into the now. Through an intentional incremental process of replacing old structures with new structures, the system begins to transform into a butterfly. The second prong of a two-pronged strategy is to transform that which is obsolete. A great example of system transformation was the dawning of the automobile age. No amount of incremental improvement of the horse and buggy could provide the performance requirements for the industrial age. We needed a brand new system of transportation. And along with that came the mass production, which made the automobile affordable to the masses. If the system is broken, then we need to fix it. Like you'd fix a flat tire in your car. You don't need a vision for a new car. Just fix the problem. If the system is obsolete, then you need system transformation. System transformation can only be understood when you have a vision for a brand new system. It starts with a vision, not the problem. Closing the gap between what you envision, the butterfly, and your current reality, the caterpillar, now becomes your problem. Most reform attempts around the world have failed because they have tried to bring efficiency or improvement to an obsolete system. The second strategy of transforming an obsolete system starts with a vision of a new system of education. Let me share with you just a few elements of what that future will look like and contrast that with the current traditional system of education. We need to design a future model of education that is based on neuroscience. The ancient learning theory that says new knowledge is acquired by pouring in information simply is not true. Humans learn through selection and not through instruction. Short-term memory tests last for about 24 to 48 hours, so cramming for the test actually works. We have an outdated teach, test, and forget learning paradigm, and so does everyone else. The system needs to be personalized for every student versus the assembly line approach. The majority need to achieve excellence and not the few. The focus should be on the future readiness of students and not test scores. Creativity, innovation should be the signature of the learning, not conformity and compliance. Assessment should be mainly formative, not summative. Teachers need to have a seamless and natural way to differentiate